We are in American Częstochowa in the company of the President of the Republic of Poland, Andrzej Duda. Good morning, Mr. President.
Dzień dobry, panie redaktorze.
Good morning and welcome to our audience.
Panie prezydencie, za chwilę porozmawiamy o tym miejscu.
Mr. President, in a moment we will talk about this place, about the important things that happened here. But during our conversation, the whole of Poland is focused on what is happening in connection with the flood, a flood probably comparable only with what we saw in 1997. How do you look at what is happening at the moment in regards to this issue? Gigantic human solidarity, but also a whole lot of questions and doubts.
No, słyszę właśnie, że są pytania i wątpliwości. Sam też miałem sposobność wysłuchać na miejscu w Głuchołazach i w Lądku-Zdroju.
Well, I can hear that there are questions and doubts. I myself had the opportunity in Głuchołazy and Lądek-Zdrój to listen to many comments addressed to the current government. However, I will say this. We, people who are responsible for the Republic of Poland today and for the safety of the people, above all, we should remain calm and try to act as competent as possible, everyone in their own area, to deal with the problem of this flood as soon as possible. But secondly, what is even more important and probably even more difficult, above all, the consequences, because it is often the case that it is simply impossible to protect yourself from flooding of these areas, and this is what happens. Houses cannot be picked up and moved to other places. Of course, people can be evacuated faster, you can take as many of your belongings as possible, but houses as such will remain. And we are actually, you can say, almost at the eve of the onset of autumn's chilly temperatures, and then winter. And really, there is very little time to save this residential substance. You have to start the process as soon as possible, first of all, of drying of the buildings. Serious cleaning has started already. I saw with my own eyes in Głuchołazy and Lądek, where soldiers are helping, where officials are helping, where everyone is actually working at the moment to prepare these properties, these houses, as soon as possible for drying. But this process of drying and bringing power back, the possibility of returning to normal life, to normal housing, but above all, securing these buildings for possible frosts so that they are dried up, so that the walls do not start to crack, so that the moisture is removed. Today, this is absolutely the most important task.
Ewentualne przyjście mrozów, żeby one były odsuszone, żeby mury nie zaczęły pękać, żeby wilgoć została usunięta, dzisiaj jest zadaniem absolutnie pierwszoplanowym.
Panie prezydencie, czy gdyby na pańskie biurko...
Mr. President, if a bill was put on your desk, which would speed up the process related to the things we are talking about, is this a bill that you would sign? Is this a time to create legislation relating to the problems we are dealing with at the moment? Financial, organizational?
Organizacyjnych.
Znaczy finansowych. No, finansowe problemy wiadomo zawsze.
Financial problems will always be there. If accelerated procedures are worked out, the distribution of funds, and especially so that these funds are increased compared to what usually took place, then of course, every legislation will find my support here. If it will only be helpful to people, if it will only be safe for those who have to use this help, then of course, I will do it as soon as it is possible for me.
Poprę ją najszybciej, jak to tylko dla mnie będzie możliwe.
Are there any signs from the government that there is such a need?
Nie mam dzisiaj takich sygnałów. Ostatni sygnał, jaki był, to były telefony z kancelarii premiera do nas.
I do not have such signals today. The last signal was the phone calls from the Prime Minister's office to us with information that there will be an assignee responsible for the matter of the liquidation of the effects of this flood, responsible for helping people. I said that as soon as this person will be appointed and the appropriate documents will be delivered to us, then I will make the appropriate call and all the activities related to it. We have waited for 24 hours and so far these documents have not come to us yet. I do not know what the Prime Minister's decision will be in this regard. Maybe he will want to call up this person in a different procedure, not in the constituted procedure as a member of the Council of Ministers.
Członka Rady Ministrów, trudno mi jest na to odpowiedzieć.
And in your opinion, should it be the Minister of the Constitution or the Minister of the Government? He will have a stronger position if he is a member of the Council of Ministers, a minister who was appointed on the basis of constitutional regulations. I have no doubt that then his position will be stronger.
Pozycja jednak będzie mocniejsza.
Panie prezydencie, to w takim razie
Mr. President, the last question about this situation, although it also concerns broader global matters. There's a whole lot of discussion about climate policy and its clashes, in a sense, with the needs of the ordinary people, because such voices are also raised during the debate on retention and regulation of rivers. This is a matter that many scientists and engineers claim was one of the reasons for this situation. And perhaps at the moment it is necessary to reconsider the matters related to the construction of retention and the vision of how we should regulate our
W jaki
rivers.
sposób mamy regulować bądź nie swoje rzeki.
Reasonable water economy is not a topic to talk about today. It is a topic that we have been talking about for a long time, the so-called small retention. After all, this is something that I popularized, and we hoped that it would be quickly and efficiently implemented in Poland during the presidential campaign in 2020. After all, we talked about it then, this small retention to store water. We popularized it because the talk was about constant droughts in Poland and that we should respect this water.
Że powinniśmy tą wodę szanować.
No, ale dziś słyszymy,
Today we hear about wetlands.
Pamiętajmy również o tym, że rzeczywiście mamy sytuację niebezpiecznych powodzi. To jest
Let us also remember that we really have dangerous flood situations. This is a topic that I recently discussed with the Czech president. We were just talking on the matter with the president when I was on my way in the car to Lądek Zdrój. We literally talked on the phone that we should call up such a conference of experts to talk about how to better protect the mountainous border area from floods. This is how it is. When such enormous amounts of rain fall in the mountains, there is not much to stop this water. If this rain is really as powerful as this time, then it just flies into the valleys and causes terrible damage. To see its size, all you need to do is go to Lądek Zdrój, to the Silesian side, to see what rushing water from the mountains which falls into such a small town means. What a destructive force it is. It is just like a tsunami. So this retention should be created in a smaller extent, but it is on these streams that such blockades should be created, which will stop this water, at least in small amounts, cascade, but still hold it to somehow secure these areas. There is no other way today. If we do not do it, then potentially these towns will always be exposed to this type of danger, which is often very difficult to predict what its scale will be. However, in the history of centuries, such great rains have happened many times in this area. And I have to say clearly, all those who live in the mountainous or sub-mountainous areas, I myself am from the south of Poland. I was born in Krakow, but my family lives in the mountains. There were many times observed in the space of the last decades such large rainfall, after which there was a rapid flow of water, and then this water caused a lot of damage.
Po których następowało gwałtowne spłynięcie wody, no i wtedy mnóstwo szkód ta woda czyniła.
Mr. President, you said it publicly, and I understand that it was not the right moment when we should talk about responsibility related to these matters. Is this the time when such a question should be asked?
Uważam, że dzisiaj przede wszystkim trzeba się skoncentrować na
I believe that today, first of all, we need to focus on how to help these people as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And when we solve the most important problem, the people we are responsible for, our voters, our citizens, we are responsible for their safety, for their fate, for their success, for their standard of living, which personally resonates in my heart the most. A basic element that I saw as a message of my presidency was that at least during this time, the standard of living in Poland has risen. I cared about this deeply. Please remember that one of the main postulates of 2015 was literally begging parents not to let their children leave, and that those who left could come back from abroad, because people, without seeing a chance for themselves in Poland before 2015, simply emigrated. Hundreds of thousands of Poles went to Great Britain, France, Germany, and other places.
Migrowali setki tysięcy Polaków w Wielkiej Brytanii, we Francji, w Niemczech, w innych miejscach.
Tu w Stanach
Here in the States as well, also in the States. But this raising of the standard of living is of great importance. And from this point of view, bringing help to these people as soon as possible, payment of compensation, support from the state, supporting them in returning to the previous state, their households, their domestic households. I am also thinking of agricultural households, but also the domestic households, the ordinary ones, simply in the cities and the small towns, has fundamental significance. This is an absolutely fundamental issue today. So let's put it aside for now. Let's not argue. Let's focus on this help. Then we will discuss responsibility. We can have a parliamentary debate. We can have various discussions. But first, let's help the people.
Debatę sejmową można przeprowadzić, różne dyskusje, ale najpierw pomóżmy ludziom.
Mr. President, we are speaking today in Polish Częstochowa. We are talking in a place where a group of many thousands of Poles gathered, Poles with whom you have met many times in the past. Here, too, you will unveil a monument, which recalls something which President Donald Trump also mentioned in his latest speech in social media. What is the reason for your presence here? Also, the unveiling of the monument here.
Obecności również odsłonięcia pomnika tu na miejscu.
No przede wszystkim to jest takie zamknięcie dla mnie, taka w jakimś sensie klamra, tak? To zaproszenie na odsłonięcie tego pomnika przyjąłem.
First of all, this is a type of closure for me, a type of ending. I received this invitation to unveil this monument with great joy and great satisfaction. Just like in 2016, we were here with my wife to unveil the monument of the unbreakable soldiers and pray here in American Częstochowa. Now, at the end, in the last months of my presidency, we are here again to unveil the monument of solidarity and all those who fought for independent Poland after 1945. This is symbolic for me. This is important to me, because this is a way of thanking the entire Polish community here in the United States for the unceasing memory of our homeland for decades.
Polskiemu, polonijnemu tutaj w Stanach Zjednoczonych za nieustającą przez dziesięciolecia pamięć o ojczyźnie.
Panie prezydencie, 45. prezydent.
Mr. President, the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, in his speech in social media called you his friend. He recalled a statement about the speech in Warsaw that said, "Let's be like Poland, let's fight for basic values." And here, in American media, a whole bunch of suggestions appeared, questions about the meeting of President Donald Trump with President Duda. How do you view the role of Poles who also ask questions about Donald Trump, about Kamala Harris in these elections?
Również pytania o Donalda Trumpa, o Kamalę Harris w tych wyborach.
Ja nie mogę odpowiedzieć moim rodakom na pytanie, kogo w Ameryce mają wybrać, bo to nie jest moja rola jako prezydenta Rzeczypospolitej.
I cannot answer my compatriots on the question of who they should elect in America, because this is not my role as the President of the Republic of Poland. I can only have the following requests. First of all, please go to the elections. All my compatriots who have the right to vote in the United States and can elect the President of the United States here, please take advantage of your right to vote. This is very important. First of all, to build the strength of the potential of the Polish environment in the United States. If Poles, Polonia, is to have an impact, if American politicians of a large format are to pay attention to Poles, to count on their opinion, they will do it only when Poles will vote unanimously. If the vote of Poles will matter in American elections, they will be important. If it will not matter, if American elections will be neglected, they will not be important for American politicians. So I appeal, dear compatriots, go to the elections. Vote in the presidential elections in the United States. However, if I can have a wish as President of Poland, I would like America to be strong. I think that a strong America is needed in Poland. What is more, I think that a strong America is also needed in Europe, because history shows that it is America, thanks to its strength, helped Europe to deal with a tragically difficult situation, such as World War I and II. America, thanks to its strength, and above all thanks to Ronald Reagan, was able to defeat the Soviet evil empire through the excellent policy of President Ronald Reagan in particular. And today, this strong America, strong by its voice, tough America, which is feared by Russia, is very much needed to stop Russian imperialism, which has revived and which today is trying to choke Ukraine, our neighbor, and which is a potential threat to our part of Europe, to the part of Europe in which Poland is. Therefore, a strong America is very important for us today. And if I can have a wish as the President of Poland, and at the same time a man who does not vote in American elections, I would like America to have a strong president, a strong leader who will be able to run American affairs as well, understanding the importance of a strong America for the rest of the world.
poprowadzić amerykańskie sprawy, rozumiejąc znaczenie silnej Ameryki dla świata.
To, panie prezydencie, dwa ostatnie pytania.
Mr. President, two final questions. During the presidential debate, there was a thread about Poland, about Polish voters, and at the same time, being in the United States, you began the process of ordering super modern American equipment while being in Washington. And despite the fact that the administration has changed in the United States, this process is continued. What is the role of this alliance? And from your conversations with American partners, what is the role of Poland? Because for some reason, Poland was allowed to buy equipment that not everyone can buy.
Zakupu sprzętu, który nie każdy może kupić.
Ja od samego początku
From the very beginning, I have a certain motto. On the one hand, I really want a strong America as President of the Republic of Poland. But on the other hand, I am convinced that a strong Poland is also needed in America. Because we are a big country in our region, a country that is in a very important strategic place. It is through Poland that the only road which connects the Baltic states, the rest of the North Atlantic Alliance, and the rest of the European Union runs through. It is Poland that is such an important transit gateway for Central Europe. It is Poland that has the largest international airport, which is able to accept transports necessary for Ukraine to defend itself. The only highway from Western Europe which enters the territory of Ukraine and on which military equipment can be transported runs through Poland. It is Poland that has wide train tracks which enter the territory of Ukraine. So Poland is the strategic area which to a great extent provides safety for our part of Europe. I think we have a duty to be strong. And the fact that we are strong is also in the interest of a strong America, because America needs a strong partner in this part of Europe. Not just a partner who is waiting for help from America, but a partner who is also, in some sense, a reliable security guarantor. I'm doing everything to make Poland a reliable security guarantor. Therefore, from the very beginning, I participate and I support the policy of increasing defense spending, modernization and expansion of the Polish army, because I think that times are such that we simply have to be strong. In order for us to be able to last, in order for us to be able to be safe, in order for us to avoid war, we have to be strong.
Musimy po prostu być silni po to, żebyśmy mogli trwać, po to, żebyśmy mogli być bezpieczni, po to, żebyśmy uniknęli wojny, musimy być silni.
The final question. There have recently been such voices in the international space that perhaps the Russian Federation should be allowed to maintain control over Crimea in some form. When you came here as president for the first time to the UN, you said that such things are impossible, and you said that compliance with the law and the lawless change of borders in Europe is impossible. How do you look at this kind of suggestion? The whole of Europe needs to understand, and I hope that it will understand better and better, that the Russian imperialism that is regressing needs to be reprimanded in Ukraine. It simply needs to be beaten in Ukraine and pushed out of Ukraine, because only this can be a guarantee of peace, and peace for Europe in the future. If Europe, if the world, if the United States allow Russia to dominate Ukraine and allow Russia to devour Ukraine and other free sovereign countries, then the appetite of this monster is unprecedented. It will want to take over new countries and nations. It will demand half of Europe. When it gets half of Europe, it will demand 3/4. And when it gets 3/4, it will claim that the Atlantic was the border of Great Russia. So today, this imperial neo-colonial Russia appetite must be reprimanded, and all forces must be used to force Russia to restore international law and punish those guilty of war crimes.
Neokolonialny musi zostać skarcony i trzeba użyć wszystkich sił do tego, by wymusić na Rosji przywrócenie przestrzegania prawa międzynarodowego i ukarać winnych zbrodni wojennych.
That is why we need strong America so much. The President of the Republic of Poland, Andrzej Duda. Thank you very much, Mr. President.